Yo guys, welcome to a brand new video. Today, I'm going to be showing you a Titan prismatic build utilizing the Huckleberry and the exotic leg armor Peacekeepers. Alright, let's not yap on for too long. We're using Glacial Quake. This is a roaming super, which recently these did get buffed. You can quite literally spam supers. You could also use Blade Fury if you want to use that. Either one of these will be very, very good for Grandmasters. We're utilizing a Rally Barricade just because it's a short cooldown. Thruster doesn't really work because we're using Drinker's Lash, so we are using Rally Barricade. We're using Strafe Lift as the jump. I usually have Catapult, but it doesn't really fucking matter, whichever one you want. We're using the Shield Throw. We're not actually using the melee, so I just have this one because of the cooldown. And I guess if you wanted to throw it for an overshield, you could, but we're mainly using it for Consecration. We have the Pulse Grenade, which can also jolt from Faceted Dominance. We're using Consecration because obviously, and then we're using Drinker's Lash, mainly to stun unstops, but also just in case you want to grab up a whole bunch of enemies as well. For our fragments, we're using Faceted Grace. Huckleberry will absolutely slay out, so you'll get a ton of... This is where all of our Transcendence energy is mainly coming from. Faceted Purpose will be giving us Frost Armor from our super. Faceted Dominance, like I said, is making our Pulse Grenade jolt. We have Faceted Protection for DR, which I believe someone commented that I believe it's 15%, and then when you're in Transcendence, it's 25%. So that's quite a lot of DR, plus all the other fucking healing we already have. And while you're already in Transcendence, I'm pretty sure you also have damage reduction. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Facet of Awakening Cuck. I love this fucking fragment so much. We are using this. We'll be getting Ionic Traces and Fire Sprites mainly, and Stasis Shards. Maybe the occasional Void Breach from our weapons. I'm using Facet of Mending. You could also swap this out for Facet of Balance if you want to, but Facet of Mending just to have that healing from our nade as well. For the armor, starting with the helmet, we're using Ashes of Assets. This is to help our super a lot more. This is where you can even spam it even more. You don't have to have this, but having one of these plus the regeneration that got buffed recently for the roaming supers is absolutely busted. We're also using Double Kinetic Siphon for the Huckleberry to make orbs. On our arms, we're using Firepower to make grenades. Grenade Kickstart to get another boost to that, to get our nade back even faster. And then Bolstering Detonation to get our Rally Barricade back faster. For the chest plate, we're using Double Void Resist with Concussive Dampener. This is just for the GM specific for Birthplace of the Vial. Interchange these depending on whichever Grandmaster you are doing. For the legs, obviously, we're using Peacekeepers, a very old exotic, but it did get changed, where whenever you are shooting the target for long enough, the SMG gets increased damage. So it's almost kind of like target lock for SMGs, but you don't have to hit precisions. So, and it reloads SMGs, and you get like the handling and the airborne effectiveness, all that stuff. But mainly, we're going for the damage here. For this role, we're using Recuperation, an Innervation, and then an Absolution. For the mark, we're running Reaper, so whenever we use our Rally Barricade, we'll make an orb on our next kill. Powerful Traction to pick up all the orbs, and then Bomber to get our grenade back. We do want our grenade back quite a lot, so we can proc Facet of Mending, but also just because that grenade will jolt, giving us class ability energy. We can pick up Ionic Traces. You want to use your Consecration a ton to make Fire Sprites to get grenade energy. This build is absolutely insane, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. For the weapons, we're using Huckleberry. You could use Manticore as well. If you are more of a Manticore enjoyer, you would have to swap it out for the energy slot because it is a void weapon. Velocity Baton with Attrition Orbs. Preferably, you would have Demo Attrition Orbs. I have not been lucky enough for that, but we do have Under-Over Attrition Orbs, so we break shields a lot faster, I guess. But the main thing we're going for here is Attrition Orbs. We're using the Chill Inhibitor with Envious Explosive Light. You could also use the one that Banshee was selling, the Envious Bait and Switch one, which also makes sure you guys go claim all those weapons. You could use that as well. But I feel like since we're moving so fast that I don't want to proc bait and switch all the time. For the artifact, the first column, you make sure you have Overload SMG and Overload Breach your grenade launcher. We're not using anything for unstop other than our Ignition from Consecration. And Drinker's Lash also does unstop, but also the super also can stun unstops. So, Fel the Revenant is really good for Birthplace of the Vial and any GMs with Scorn. Rapid Impact for the GL. Trace Evidence. This is how we're going to get our traces from our grenade as well. Another form of it, at least, which you could boost to get armor charge. That's a good one. One of the newer ones this episode, or Act 2, sorry, is The Thick of It, where Rapid Final Blows while surrounded grant armor charge. Will be surrounded quite often, which will also proc Facet of Protection. So both of those will be going together. Creative Orbs. Whenever we break a shield the first time, we'll get an orb. And then Concussive Reload, this just weakens. Halo Storm for our super. And then Conductive Cosmic Crystal, so if someone debuffs something with the stasis, our arc abilities will do more. And then Kinetic Impacts, just because this is also a way to stun on stops if you want to. Alright guys, that was the build. This isn't necessarily an original combo this episode, but I thought I'd take my own little twist on the build. And this build does cook in Grandmasters. I didn't try it at Onslaught, so I mean, if it's doing really good in a Grandmaster, it should do good pretty much anywhere. Depending on the champs, you might have to change some of the weapons, but Huckleberry cooks with Peacekeepers. You have Consecration still. Everything about this build absolutely cooks. And the changes they made to the roaming supers is absolutely insane. You'll see in the gameplay here. I'm showing you guys my best Birthplace of the Vile run. This is with 2 other randoms, so it was me, 2 randoms, and we did a 10-minute run of the GM, which is pretty good with randoms. So enjoy the gameplay, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.